Inspiring Uganda.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Agawa Kenneth Amponda, and I serve as the Speaker of the 32nd Uganda National Students Association, NEC. And today we come with our chief guests of the day. Those are our dear candidates who are fully and duly nominated for the office of presidency to be our next leaders. We present them to the students of this nation. Our verification was done thoroughly. Now the remaining verification is for the students of this nation. You'll be listening from them. They'll be debating on different aspects which the moderators are going to go through. Our major role as UNSA, this time we should not always have honorary delegates decide on who should be our next leaders, but also the students who are the subscribers, who are part of this association, they have a right to say, please, our dear guild president or our delegate, the best person with a better vision and mission for to carry on for our association is this candidate, depending on the way they will have submitted in their debate. So that's why we are here. And our council is going to convene, and the dates are 27th, that's a Friday, this Friday of this week. Then we have 28th, we shall be having council. 27th is reporting day. Then 29th, in the morning, we shall have voting and departure of all delegates. So at this moment, I wish all the candidates the best. We have had enough water for you on the tables in case of anything. Also, the ambulance is around. So the moderator, please carry on. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Well, viewers joining us from the eastern, central, northern, and of course, western parts of this country, but of course, equally our international community. Thank you for making a date with us this morning. This is the first maiden televised UNSA presidential debate, whereby those who shall be speaking to us aspire to fill in the shoes of the likes of the great Ruakana Rugunda, the likes of the late Tumusime Mutebile, the likes of Honorable Lilian Abe, among other great leaders that this institution has nurtured. And of course, to join me this morning to moderate this conversation is, and please introduce yourselves.
My name is Beatrice Kamakune Gumisiriza. I have served as Deputy Speaker of the Uganda National Students Association, but I'm also a member of the Uganda Debate Society. It's an honor for me to be on this panel.
Yes, my name is Peter Aina. I'm a 2 times national debate champion. I have previously served as the President, Uganda Secondary Schools Prefects Association, and I'm currently working with the African Graduate Entrepreneurship Institute on bridging the gap for young people, envisioning their local dreams and making them into global ambitions. I'm very privileged to be here. Thank you.
Well, and my name is Akidega Moses, and I am only your good comrade this morning. Well, like you have mentioned already, you aspire to step in the shoes of so many great people. But the question is, do you have what it takes? But before we delve into that, kindly introduce yourselves in just 1 minute. Let's know who you are. And I'll begin from the extreme right.
My name is Birundi Sharifa. Thank you. My name is Birundi Sharifa. I am from Islamic University in Uganda, Females Campus. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Achuga Barbara Caroline, the Guild President, Muni University in Arua, West Nile region. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Uganda. My name is Mutawaz Elijah, the Guild President, Central University, and aspiring for UNSA presidency. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mwembe Rachel Serada, Guild President, Uganda Christian University. It's an honor to be here, and I would like to thank everyone who has made it, even those that are on the line. Thank you so much.
Yes, a very good morning, Uganda, and to all viewers of UBC. My name is Bill Clinton Nasasira. I'm a fourth-year medical student pursuing Bachelor of Pharmacy, and at the same time a Guild President of Mbarara University of Science and Technology, but also dabbling as a chairperson, youth of Sembabule District. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. To the viewers, at least now you know your candidates by name, but do you know them by mind? Once again, Karibu Sana, and Kamakunde Beatrice, I hand over to you to take us through the first phase of questions.
Thank you. Good morning once again. The first question is going to be answered by all candidates. So once I ask the first question, starting from the left, the first candidate will come to the podium and take 3 minutes to answer this particular question. And here is the question. As President of the Uganda National Students Association, you are required and mandated to identify issues and challenges facing the institution. What is your approach to addressing these issues? So I would like you to identify the issues that are facing the issues and challenges affecting the institution, and tell us how you intend to solve them as a president.
Thank you so much. To the question, number one, I'll utilize very well my 3 minutes. And to start with, UNSA, or Uganda National Students Association, is an umbrella encompassing all students of the country, and that is post-primary, from senior 1 to university till you graduate. You are part of UNSA. And this association was started early in the 1988, but the idea was bought from our 4 founders of the National Union of Students of Uganda. That was in the early 1963. So the people who are just from the bush, the likes of Lieutenant Colonel Katabazi, sat in the early 1988 and formed this association with an agenda. If you read through the preamble of our own constitution, what were we trying to envisage? We were trying to look at a student revolution, a student movement that is aiming to, one, nurture students into the patriotism of this country, but also trying to focus the student leadership and the whole student community into the national leadership of their own country. Going forward, now in the post-COVID era, where we are looking at students committing many suicide cases, where we are looking at hiking of commodities and increased tuition, both in secondary schools and university level. All of us have heard of the surcharge at university level. All of us have seen newspapers where tuition is being increased, and government has been trying to regulate the increased school fees. But we are also looking at increased school requirements. For example, when we are talking about this whole UNSA, we should be focusing at what student leaders are able to advocate for and within the country. For example, today we should be looking at the ability of UNSA to negotiate for students of this country in this post-COVID era. How can we have UNSA engage in gender-based violence through making partnerships with NGOs? How can we have UNSA come on board, one, to also encompass the whole membership right away from the senior 1? For example, how can we have activities at district level? How can we have activities within schools? How can we have signposts of UNSA within the school community? All these are activities that the whole NEC should be looking at. But we shouldn't also forget that we are students. That's why when you look at the framers of the Constitution, they gave a provision of the National Secretariat. Depending on that, underlying to the basis of the fact that I'm a student and I must do my academics as well, we were having a national secretariat, where the national secretariat is supposed to keep documents and have the continuity of leadership at UNSA. Yes, year in, year out, we have new student leaders on board, but the national secretariat is here to stay. So in case we have all this documented, for example, you know, it is UNSA that pushed for the loan scheme. It is UNSA that pushed for student representation on National Council for Education. So we need to now encompass on whatever we have already achieved. Look at the scholarships we have been giving in the previous NEC, and how do we document this and make it sustainable. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I would like to start with thanking our dear predecessors of Uganda National Students Association for the great work that they have done in their different capacities. And it really warms my heart to know that UNSA did not just start just yesterday, but way back. So they have really done a lot. However, there are also some challenges that have been left. And we cannot finish all of them at once, but once we work as a team, that's the only way we can get to what we want to achieve. One of the challenges UNSA is facing is the notion of regional imbalance when it comes to extension of various services or opportunities. You find that most times you can find a specific region is benefiting and the rest are left out. So we need a system of decentralization of these opportunities, at least even the students deep down there in Katakwi, deep down there in Wobulenzi, deep down there in Masindi can see and get an opportunity, and reduce on the notion of the haves and the have-nots, where those who have are gaining and then those who don't have at all are actually not having these opportunities. The other point I'd like to talk about is the inclusivity one. Most times when we vote for new leaders in the National Executive Committee, you find that you're the only ones most times that take the decisions for the association. How about if we have an association where even the district executive committee members are involved, the institutions are involved, the universities are all involved in this, so that we think together and we know that wherever we're going, we are together as a team. Most times when you do not involve people in what you're doing, they turn their hate into something else. It becomes hatred all over because of simple communication, because of simple organization that is needed to inform them of what is happening and how best can they contribute towards that. And then the other challenge we have is that we are not yet focusing so much on being a developmental association in one or the other. Right now we'd be on international spaces discussing youth politics and how best we can make our country better in one or the other. But most times you find that those opportunities are not there because we have not really maybe focused on such opportunities. So we need to internationalize UNSA, that even the people outside there can know about us, that we are a very, very great institution, a very great association. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to start with appreciating the Office of the Speaker, Uganda National Students Association, for making this a success, that we are here today, and it's the first time. Yes, you asked about the challenges that we are seeing in institutions, and as a president, I would like really to address. One of them is the issue of security and students. Young people today, they are dying. We see a lot of suicidal issues here and there. So how can I really enter into this? If at all we can come up with mentorship programs, counselings. Are counselors still in schools? Do we have them down there in our secondary schools? If we can get back on ground and put back counselors, we prepare such programs for our students, I believe we'll handle the issue of their security and stop accidents that are happening every other time. 2, skilling projects. People today, they lack skills. Last time I was discussing with young people from Mobende, and they were telling me during holidays how I wish UNSA can support us with small programs, probably like poetry or such things that can keep our mind active and that we can be productive to the nation. I really believe if we can still skill these young people, we can make UNSA great again. Another point is campaigns. I want to appreciate the 32nd NEC for the girl child campaign. Thank you so much for that. But again, the boy child is neglected. We need to develop ideas to bring them down, to see even the boy child that can be motivated, can be inspired. Young people have discovered, some people, they only need to tell that you can do it. Yes, you can. Take a step. You can go in for it. We have people that are really brilliant. As I can say, the children of today have, their IQ is very high, but they're not given a platform. I would really like to bring about this issue of talent. Our young people are talented. You find someone is having, maybe he has a talent in football, in boxing, but when that boy goes out to play, the parent may be against him, may beat that child. How I wish we can go down to the villages, we can go down to our parents and tell them, if this child likes football, please give him the shoes, take him to the academy, let us inspire them, because the future of Uganda is within us, the students. The future of Uganda is with us, the young people. Ladies and gentlemen, we can make UNSA great again. Ladies and gentlemen, we can produce skills in our people. Ladies and gentlemen, I can also lobby. You asked about this. Some people, you can find at campus, people are paying 50, and then he's lacking the balance. How I wish we get into this, like UN, it has a lot of scholarships. It has a lot of sponsorships. It can sponsor many, many young people. Can we go in down there and get those and make sure that we support? I heard it's at Pakwachi. It has only 2 secondary schools. As the president of UNSA, I can talk to the government and we see how best we can increase the number of schools in that area. I would like also to tackle the issue of debates. Thank you so much.
Okay. Next.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. I am so humbled to discuss with you the issues that affect our students, that affect the education system in this country, and to suggest possible solutions that can be brought on table when you finally elect me as your next president. Once again, I am Achugaba Caroline, the Guild President, Muni University, and your candidate for the position of presidency in the 33rd UNSA Council. Going straight to the point, what are the issues that are affecting UNSA that I would wish to address when mandated as the next president? Of course, UNSA being an association of students in the country, all the issues that we discuss about UNSA, actually the issues that affect the lay student in the community, the lay student in the village, and these are some of the issues. First of all, there is a lot of there is limited access to education. What do we mean when I talk about this? You realize people do not have equal opportunities to attend school, to attend education, simply because of school fees issues, others because of disability issues. For example, when you realize if you go to places in the peripheries of the country, you will realize that there are schools, primary schools for persons with disabilities, but for persons, when these students finish their primary education, going to secondary becomes a challenge because there are no schools. So how will we address this? First of all, as the next president, I will be able to use my office to lobby with national and international agencies for more schools to be built for persons with disabilities. Not only that, other people have challenges of accessing education because of school fees, because of tuition. How are we going to handle this? First of all, as the next president, UNSA is able to raise close to 2 billions. We are supposed to get more than 2 billions annually, but because of the process of mobilization of these resources, we fail to get the actual amount of money that we are supposed to get. We are about 15 million students in the country, each paying 2,000. And if we are to total this, if we are to sum up this or multiply this, we get 3 billions that we are supposed to get. Of course, the first thing we will do is to ensure we follow up, we involve the stakeholders to mobilize all these funds, the deans of students, the directors of studies. Many of them do not know the role or the benefits of UNSA to the students or to the institutions they lead. And this brings a very big challenge when it comes to resource mobilization, because they fail to subscribe, because they don't understand why they should pay the money. So as the next president, we should be able, or as the next NEC, we should be able to involve all these stakeholders and mobilize enough resources. Having mobilized these resources, we should be able to apportion part of these funds to cater for the needy students in the country who cannot afford school fees. If we are able to lobby or mobilize 2 billion in the country, in a year, can we allocate just 100 millions to pay for school fees in for children in secondary schools, in tertiary institutions, in universities? They are there, and this is very possible when there is a will. And because the will is there, there is a person, and that person is ABC. Secondly, the other issue we can talk about is functionality and visibility of UNSA. UNSA is not visible because it is not functionally vibrant in the communities. People do not know the benefits of UNSA. People do not know what UNSA does. People do not know how to get involved in UNSA. Even a lay student who pays the 2,000 Ugandan shillings actually does not know why he or she is paying this money. So as the next UNSA president, we should be able to, or the next NEC, we should be able to ensure that we advocate and work hard towards ensuring that we improve the functionality and vibrancy and visibility of UNSA. How will we do this? First of all, we need to formalize the regional operations of UNSA. Many people talk about we should regionalize UNSA. UNSA has already been regionalized, only that the operations and at regional levels have not been formalized. We don't have, we are very well aware that the regional operations of UNSA are actually embedded on the shoulders of coordinators, are embedded on the DEC members, are embedded on the leaders in the different districts and different institutions. But their operations have not been formalized. We don't have policy manuals that define the scope of the roles that coordinators do. We don't have clear documents that define what DEC members are supposed to do. Some districts are unable to even operate on or carry out councils because of funds. So as the next NEC, one other issue that we should be able to address is ensure we use the funds, remit them to the sources where we get them from, and we ensure that UNSA becomes vibrant to the grassroots and to the lay student in the country. Thank you.
Good morning once again. My name is Birungi Sharifa. Without wasting time and putting a repetition of what the former speakers have said, I'll run down to the point. Number one, I'll talk about consultative leadership. How is it a problem? Getting back to the student that elects the UNSA president, the student will say, I was not well represented. This is what I expected from the UNSA president, but I did not get what I wanted. So that means that there was no consulting what the people want. As a leader, a good leader, I think you should go back to the voters, to the students' fraternity, and ask them, what are we supposed to do? UNSA presidency is a position. You are a servant to the students, and being a servant, you must go back to the master. So if we start consulting the child way back in Bale, deep in the village, we look at a child in Nakapidi Piriti, and we ask, what are the problems you are facing? And we are able to come and give the exact problems. I can't wake up in the morning and get a dream and say, I have a dream. These are the problems that are affecting UNSA. But if I consult, and we are working together from the students, I think I'll be able to present the real problems that are facing the students. The gender question. There is an issue that is moving and is affecting students with or without their knowledge. What is gender? So we have had some of our sisters come up and saying, I am emancipated, I am a woman, I am a feminist, I am liberal, I am etc. All that. So what is gender? Gender is simply being a man or a woman. So because the gender question is misunderstood, we are having so many issues in schools like bullying, because one gender is going to feel like they are bigger than the rest. Our current speaker talked about issues where the girl child was looked after and the boy child was left out. This can be an advantage and a disadvantage to the girl child. A girl child will be helped, but the disadvantage is we are going to be looked at as weak by the other section. So how do we bring in our brothers and sisters and we say that yes, we are one at the end of the day? So if we revise the gender question very well, we are going to avoid issues of bullying in school, where girls are going to shy away, where the girl child will be like, I cannot go to class and sit next to that boy. When I was starting this race, a certain gentleman from Makerere University looked at me and laughed. He's like, you're a woman and you want UNSA presidency. How many women have been UNSA president? If you get more than 60 votes, I'll give you a prize. And I told him, what is your role? Is your role to push a sister? Is your role to motivate a future mother? Or is your role to put us down? So if we revise this question and we know that it's not a competition in life, and being a feminist does not entitle you to disrespect the male species. We are supposed to work hand in hand. Let's ask for equality. Let's ask for our position in society in a respective manner, because at the end of the day we are human beings and we have a God we serve. I am a believer, I am a Muslim by religion, and my religion tells me to be respectful. I am a Uganda woman by culture. My culture tells me to be respectful. I am not going to carry on the ways of the white man, all the ways I know nothing about. And I'm going to say I'm a feminist. Mine is to fight boys, and then the boys are going to be feel left out. So if we can get through the consultative leadership, because I cannot give you the answers right now. I have not consulted. I am not here to tell you what I feel in my head. I have to go. Ours is a generational cause. We consult and we report back. So that is how we are going to be able to put down the gender issues in school. Another one is about partisan politics. What brings on the unnecessary strikes, the day-to-day strikes in different universities? Students forgotten the role why they went back, they came to school. Why your mother and father tells you, my daughter, my son, you're going to go to school. The number one reason we are at school is to acquire education and make our parents proud. It's not to get involved in politics and parties and start fighting. At the end of the day, no one is going to be proud of a child that is going to be sentenced to Reserve prison. No one is going to be proud of a child that has failed to complete their degree simply because they did not understand the reason to why they went to school. It's important to have parties, but let's do it in a way that is more understandable. Before I conclude, because conclude I must, I'll talk about the scholarship issues. Scholarship, what are scholarships? Personally, I am not bragging, but it's a fact. I was given a scholarship when I did my senior 6. I rejected that scholarship because I believed there was a child deep down in the village that needed it. As UNSA leaders, we can revise these scholarships, not to go to the best performing students who are able to support themselves throughout school, but who needs it the most. Who needs it the most? Actually, that was supposed to be my last point. Then I remembered my brothers who have sent me here, the ones of PWD. Okay, my brothers of PWD, they beg to be included, they beg to be heard, and they beg to be part of our project. Because of lack of time, I think I'll be continuing later if I'm given an opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I will now hand over to the other segment of questions. These questions will be tailored to a particular candidate, so each candidate will answer a different question. I'll now hand over to my colleague, Peter.
Yes. I think I'll start from the left, since the middle. Okay, I'll start from the middle. And my question is rather a simple one. For UNSA to achieve its purpose, it must have a good working relationship with stakeholders, that is NEC, DEC, coordinators, guild presidents, student councils, civil society organizations, and the government. As an aspirant for UNSA presidency, how do you intend to create cohesion for the benefit of the institution?
Thank you so much. UNSA brings together a number of partners students, as we mentioned them. One, the number one solution to this is speaking out. I really believe in peace talks. I believe in discussions. If we can have a platform where we can share these views, share these challenges with the government, with NGOs, with what, I believe the voice of UNSA can be vibrant. Two, bringing together students in institutions, wherever they be. You give them platforms into these organizations, like those members who represent students on National Council for Education. If students are really put into those spaces, I believe UNSA can be very vibrant. I believe I'm answering the question. Two, international bodies, other international students' platforms, having that relationship, keeping that relationship, we improve the quality of education, whereby we can learn. For example, you head to Kenya and you understand how their system is operating. Then when you come back home, you can have a platform to share and also copy and also put it here in Uganda. Number four, as I said before, if we can scope these students who are having talents and we sponsor them, we support those talents, I believe UNSA can be vibrant. And also another point, we have these subscription fees. We need them to get back to ground. If we can really have a platform whereby students can really benefit from this money that they give to UNSA, I believe UNSA will be vibrant. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. The next question will go to Rachel. Please take the podium. And Rachel, the question is that in the past couple of annual general meetings of UNSA, there has been witnessed a couple of security interference with the process, right from the inception of ideas of candidates to when they get to be nominated to actually the day of election. So, but this is a civilian student process. How, as a leader, how best do you think that you can strategically divorce the processes of UNSA from security interference? We now hear that candidates are vetted by security. I don't know, is that true?
Thank you very much. One thing I know is there's no smoke without fire. There's no smoke without fire. Why do I say that? Is that if danger is sensed in one way or the other, and it's going to destabilize the peace of any state or country, definitely the state has to come in and provide security. So most times you find that the previous councils held a few of our
what
dear
threat
students.
would a candidate pose to national security? Just give us some insights.
Well, what mostly happens in these councils, sometimes some people perform actions that cause a threat. And the duty of any internal security organ is to make sure that there is peace within the state. So whenever there is even just a mere thing like this, because anything can trigger a security threat. So it's not that they are here to threaten, according to my thinking.
Is that you affirming security interference or participation in the UNSA process? Are you okay with it?
I am not saying that they should participate, because participating and protecting the state are two different things. I would rather say that they would rather be there to make sure at least the students are safe and okay. We always have these even in our universities, just to keep stability. Most times students become violent when they get excited to see that their candidates are winning or they are losing or what. We even had an incident recently in Makere, where one of our own, we lost one of our own, where students got excited and in the end someone passed on. So such things, to prevent them, proper prior planning prevents poor performance. So when you prepare ahead of time for anything, you just have to be ready anytime for anything. You stop it and have a peaceful situation at hand.
All right. Thank you, candidate Serwada Rachel Kamakune.
My next question will go to Ms. Sharifa. Please take the podium. Ms. Sharifa, over time, the education in Uganda has rather become a commodity, and whoever can afford to buy it can access it. We also know that very many parents and very many students and children cannot afford this kind of education. You, as the UNSA president, who is an advocate for all students across the country, what will you do in your power to ensure that government listens, institutions listen, and make sure that, once again, education is affordable for everyone in Uganda?
Thank you very much. I actually appreciate your question. How to approach your question? I earlier talked about scholarships, but I don't think scholarships are enough in this case. But as I said earlier on before, I hope I'm not misunderstood. I'm not trying to say that there should not be a reward for best performing students at the end of the day. But I believe the way in which scholarships are awarded should be revised so that the scholarships go to the students that need them the most. A child from Masaka SS would love to make it, who has been on scholarship their whole life, but they are not so smart. But maybe they are talented one way or another. They can sing, they can dance, and they have a talent in football. Would love to go to Makerere University and study law like I am. But that child does not have an opportunity because Makerere University is very expensive. So if we go back and revise the way in which we are giving out these scholarships, and we are like, Sharifa, can you afford university? Can your parents afford university? The question is yes. Who do you think needs this most? As UNSA president, through consultative meetings with other leaders, so that I can go back to the main body, the president, anyone who can listen, the Ministry of Education, because we are under the ministry. And we gave them an idea. We suggested, you see, the problem with students is when they suggest, they want you to, in fact, they don't suggest, they want to enforce. So I believe in peaceful meetings, if we are able to deliver what we have picked as student leaders and take back to these people. Another way in which different students can afford tuition. Makerere University is a very big university. We all know the history of Makerere through President Idi Amin Dada, the late. Makerere has some agriculture that is taking place. They have a farm. One time I went to Makerere University, Mary Stewart Hall, and I found that these students were eating beans with weevils. I asked a question, why do you eat beans with weevils? Don't you have a farm? And they said, yes, we have a farm. We produce food that we sell on the outside. I told these students, why don't you ask the university so that you get involved in these activities? One, it will be a job for you. You will earn some money that you'll use in your tuition. Number one, you'll be working. And number two, you get good food. And number three, you can be the ones to sell the excess out there to bring in money. So the student was like, imagine I'm working on a farm. If we stopped looking at jobs, odd jobs, and we said I cannot do this, and we decided to come back down to earth, there is a problem of social media where people are making fun of others.
Thank you, Ms. Sharifa. Just to take you back to the question,
yes.
The Ministry of Education and government are mandated to regulate, you know, the cost of education. Yes. What is your call to government in terms of education, school fees regulation?
To government and the Ministry of Education, like I was saying about the scholarships, that was number one. Another thing, I wanted students to get involved in different activities. And the ministry can maybe give, reduce on the amounts of money that the students are paying, because we have seen different schools giving us circulars. They are saying, Makerere University, law students are supposed to pay this and this and this and this. So if we can put down on the amount of money that students are paying, and we can try to get this money from somewhere else, then we are bringing in students so that they can be able to study. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes,
the next question will go to Mr. Bill Clinton, Nasasra. Yes, the vision of UNSA is to be the most vibrant and leading student movement in the world. However, in the recent nomination process, we have seen non-Ugandan student leaders being eliminated. As UNSA president, what are you going to do for inclusion and collaboration with the international community?
Thank you so much. To start with the elimination of international students, one, it is wrong, and that just depended on the pigeonhole constitution syndrome that we have, where somebody wakes up and forms a constitution and then it is distributed into community. But UNSA, being a Uganda National Students Association, should be able to encompass the East African region, the Africa. Just like I told you, the framers of the constitution, the start-on people were looking at UNSA as a student revolution movement and looking at different student revolutions that were happening in other countries, in Tanzania. That's why even President Museveni, when he was coming, he focused on students. So we can't eliminate the international community. We can't eliminate students from fellow East African countries. Yet we are talking about regional integration being one of our problems. Therefore, if we truly want to develop as UNSA, if we want to advocate for equal rights within East African bloc, if I want to make my degree of pharmacy valuable in Kenya, I must unite with the students of Kenya, such that my qualification here in Uganda is also carried to Kenya. Therefore, any student that graduates in Uganda can fully operate in Kenya or Tanzania, and the qualification is at the same standard. That is when we talk about the actual integration. But I want to give you a little brief of what actually happened, depending on your question. You see, in 2010, at UTC Elgon, is when the pigeon constitution syndrome started within our own association, where some people who wanted to return as executive secretaries started editing the constitution. By then, the position of executive secretary was called administrative secretary. So at first, the UNSA body, one, we had a NEC that is being voted by the National Students' Council. The National Students' Council is encompassing the district executive committees that are being voted by school council committees, and these school council committees are voted by stream councillors. Look at how rich the structure was. But later on, things started shifting depending on who wants power. And 3 power centers were created, where in 2010 we formed a board of trustees. And people did not differentiate what is a board of trustees and what is a board of governors. A board of governors is mandated to take charge of the institution and the general running of an organization. But a board of trustees is more of guaranteeing for an institution. We were looking at a student association that we needed a board of trustees, people that we can rely on in case we have problems, in case we need money, in case we want to look at fulfillment and protection of our own assets. Are we together? Yes. I'm just giving you a little background so that we all understand. So time came, I remember that was a court case of 2018, where Justice Sekana advised UNSA, depending on the student who had gone to court, that student of Chambogo, that the board of trustees, since the association had a board of trustees, it could aid in review of such a court case. That is how, from that time, the board of trustees started popping their nose into the current affairs of the association.
So as the president of UNSA, are you promising that once you're voted, non-Ugandans will start taking up offices of speaker, offices of president? Once you're president, are you making that statement today live on TV that we take it, that you'll accomplish it?
I'm actually not even making it, but I'm giving it much solidarity. One, remember at secondary school level, even at university, these people actually pay this membership. They are part of our association. We are not saying that we are introducing a new case.
they are already a part. They were just denied by a clique of people who wanted to bring in the idea of national IDs, maybe depending on their personal interests. But you can't tell people, all of you collect money, you are part of us, and then when it comes to activities, you isolate people. Then later you talk of regional integration. That is wrong. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Barbara, kindly take up the podium. Barbara, Chinua Achebe one time said that society proceeds by contradiction. What this means is that for us to coexist, there will be controversy. The question here being that the level of student unrest in universities, but also at lower levels. And perhaps this arises due to genuine concerns of students, like, high tuition prices, among others. But in a functional democracy, there must be conflict resolution mechanisms. As someone who aspires to lead the students of this country, what are some of those conflict resolution mechanisms that you would propose to university administrators on how to deal with grievances and issues arising from the students' community, so that we don't find ourselves, being incarcerated, you find students being beaten and, some dying. So conflict resolution, how would you approach it?
Wow, this is a very interesting question. I'd like us to repose for the souls of 2 students we lost in West Nile region when schools were striking. Just a few days ago, a student was shot in one of the secondary schools in Gulu when they were demonstrating. May their souls rest in peace. First of all, I would like to say there is a very big challenge as I respond to this. The challenge that leads to this unrest, to these strikes and demonstrations, the major challenge is irresponsiveness. Students have issues that can be attended to before they get out of hand. But because, you see, violence and unrest is a process, first, there should exist a problem, which is always there. The next is, these people who are agitated make advances to be listened to, but in most cases, they never get the responses they need. And this is one thing I would wish to propose to the administration, to the leadership of students in secondary schools, in tertiary institutions and universities, to have a listening ear for the students of this country. If there is a problem of absenteeism of teachers in a particular class, candidates are supposed to sit exams at the end of the year and teachers are absent. The first thing they usually do is to report this. But when they are ignored, this is the time when they begin to say, let us speak louder, and they go into strikes and demonstrations, which do not usually turn out well for them. So I'd like to encourage the administration, 1, to listen to the students, 2, to get involved in dialogue. Whenever there is a problem, not all problems, students have many issues. Not all may be attended to at a particular time, but when you attend to them, you listen to them, you involve them in a roundtable discussion, you have a dialogue, you will be able to prevent some of these uprisings, some of these strikes, and some of these demonstrations. Secondly, some of these issues actually have solutions. Why don't we solve them? If the issue is school fees increment without any justifiable reasons, why don't we explain to them? Why don't we prevent these increments? If the issue is bad food, students strike because of bad food in schools. You cannot eat weevils and you go and attend class. When they complain, these are issues that can be settled. And these are the small issues that are causing uprisings in schools. So as the next NEC, I propose, and I will be at the forefront of ensuring that we engage school leaders, administrations in dialogue and suggesting possible solutions. Actually, by the time students raise complaints, they even have solutions to these problems. So we engage them, we have collaborative and collective responsibility in settling some of these issues. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So we shall have one last set of questions, and these questions will require you to use not more than 1 minute. So just to wrap this up, I'll begin with my first question, which is to you, Sharifa. Kindly take up the podium. And just quickly, is that leaders of society must govern or lead by the law, all right? Yes. You are a law student and someone who aspires to lead UNSA. You must understand the UNSA Constitution. What is Article 2 of the Constitution?
Can I get your question, please?
What does Article 2 of the UNSA Constitution state?
So Article 2 of the Constitution of UNSA talks about...
You can paraphrase, yeah?
Maybe I can explain it in how I understand it.
Yeah, paraphrase.
Yeah, students are supposed to behave, or they're supposed to act in ways with the law. We're not supposed to go against the law. We're supposed to obey the rules and the regulations, something like that.
All right, thank you. Beatrice?
My question will go to Ms. Serada. Ms. Serada, will you kindly state for us the vision and mission of the Uganda National Students Association?
Thank you so much. I happen to have moved with our constitution, and allow me to read verbatimly. Our mission is to be the leading and most vibrant students association in the world, and our mission is to prepare and produce disciplined, patriotic, and self-reliant citizens for national development. Thank you.
Thank you.
My question will go to Ms. Barbara. Yes, what are the duties of an UNSA president as stated in the UNSA constitution?
Thank you so much. First of all, the UNSA president is the executive head of the National Executive Committee. 2, the UNSA president is actually the executive head of the association of all students of the country, who supervises all the activities and roles that are implemented by the rest of the NEC members and students in the country. Okay. Those are the few roles I can state for now.
So you are expected to be on the board of trustees. Do you know the other members who sit on that board of trustees of UNSA?
Yes, I do.
Can you give them to us just before you sit?
First of all, we have the permanent secretary, Ministry of Education. We have the president. We have the Minister of Education and Sports. We have... Those are the few I can mention for now.
It is the permanent secretary at the Ministry of Education and Sports. Thank you.
Sorry?
It's the permanent secretary to the Ministry of Education and Sports, not the minister.
Ministry?
Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
All right, thank you. To the audience, kindly prepare just 3 questions that we shall take towards the end. But Bill Clinton, kindly take up the podium. And my question to you is that how many organs are legally recognized by the UNSA Constitution? How many organs does UNSA have?
Thank you so much. Number 1, we have the organ of the National Secretariat. Number 2, we have a board of trustees. Number 3, we have a National Students' Council that is composed of DEC, that is District Executive Committees, and those are mandated by the school councillors, and that is the students' body of councillors at the secondary school level, and those are also mandated by the stream councillors. That is the board of NEC.
All right, thank you. Can you take up your seat? Mr. Elijah.
Mr. Elijah, the question is, how does the executive secretary of the Uganda National Students Association come into office?
The secretary.
The executive secretary.
The executive secretary is voted by the board of trustees, but is also affirmed or recommended by the students or by the council.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. The questions are coming in on my social media, and I shall be reading them as they come to you. And someone from the audience would like to know from you, Barbara. And the question is that the issue of sexual harassment of the girls in school, but also the larger notion of sex for marks that is really popular in high institutions of learning. We know that institutions have a zero tolerance to policy, a zero tolerance to sexual harassment policy, but the issue of implementation. So how best can we protect our girls who become a victim of such draconian acts of those who wield power over them?
First of all, thank you. Allow me appreciate the administration of Kabaale University that came out last year openly against one of the lecturers who harassed one of the girls in exchange for marks, or one of the ladies. First of all, I would like to say, as the next president, how will we protect, or as the next NEC, how will we protect our ladies against sexual harassment? First of all, we need to ensure that we let them know the risks or the things that they will get involved to that predispose them to this harassment. Of course, when we talk about sexual harassment, we are looking at all students in the country, ranging from secondary schools, tertiary institutions and universities. So when we let them know, first of all, about the risks that they can engage in that can lead or predispose them to this sexual harassment, we will inform them, and when they are aware, that is already one strategy to preventing this harassment. Secondly, we will ensure that we engage students and in campaigns, in dialogues, and we empower them to speak out against these teachers, against these lecturers who come or who encourage them or who induce them into these sexual vices. The other thing I would say is, first of all, we have a very big challenge in most of our tertiary institutions and universities. Ladies get involved into sexual relationships not because they are interested, but because of the so-called marks or sex for marks. So the first thing is to encourage the girl child to stand out, study, do the same that the boy child does, and be able to defend themselves against or for their marks and study well. The other thing that I would say is, how will we encourage the implementation? You see, implementation comes in, we can only implement when we know. First of all, many people don't know about these policies. So the first thing is to make aware. When people are empowered with the knowledge, they will be able to speak out for their rights. And when they speak, they will be helped. So the first thing is creating awareness about these policies that protect the girl child or the ladies against this sexual harassment. And of course, when you have the powers, then you can involve the stakeholders who are involved in the implementation of these policies. Thank you.
Thank you. My question goes to Bill Clinton. Please take the podium. Bill Clinton, in the wake of COVID-19, we saw Ugandan schools close to 2 years, and many young children, many young students dropped out of school. I mean, the problem seemed to have been there, the problem of people sexually abusing young people. So we saw a big number of teenage pregnancies. And I know, as a leader of an institution such as Uganda National Students Association, there is something that you could do about teenage pregnancies. Young people are already pregnant. Some of them cannot be allowed to go back to school. What is your call in scenarios where students are already in that situation?
Thank you so much. Number one, just like you saw how the ministry kept engaging, but we also had different students who came out to sincerely advocate against teenage pregnancy. That was a good move for those that had not already gotten pregnant. Maybe the message reached to them. But also to those that had already gotten pregnant, it was a point of allowing and having a dialogue with the ministry for such students to be allowed back in school. It is not about pregnancy shouldn't limit someone's future. We are looking at a student whose dream is to become a doctor, whose dream is to become an engineer, and a 9 months pregnancy as a medical student. If these students are actually given much care, they can give birth and go back to school. We shouldn't limit education to only those that are only advantageous. But even those that are disadvantaged, the disabled students, those that are also pregnant can be given opportunity to go back to school. And that is the role of UNSA, to engage the ministry, to engage NGOs, to also address the issue of gender-based violence.
What is your call to religious leaders, families, and citizens in this country towards eliminating teenage pregnancy?
One, I'm going to give you something that was trending during the COVID-19, where a mother was saying, "Wear it for me." It is time, because you see, in all these situations, a student is affected. I always tell people, it is only in education where a student is the raw product, is the raw material and the product. You see, at all situations, whether the accidents or anything, a student is affected. It's high time UNSA, as an association of students, to come out, tell the religious leaders, because they are parents, encourage them to always spread the gospel within the churches and mosques, but also talk to the parents that, please, we need a future in a humble way. There is a way it brings out a message that is catching. Everybody feels so-and-so is my child, and tomorrow they will become this. Tomorrow they can be great. Tomorrow they'll be leaders. Thank you so much.
Yeah. My question will go to Ms. Mirembe Rachel. Yes, there is a contentious issue that is happening globally, and I think even here in Africa. The question of LGBTQ. What would be your position as the president of the students, of the biggest student movement in Uganda, about the same?
Thank you so much. One, I'd love to first respect that we all come from different backgrounds and all have different ideologies, and everyone is entitled to their opinion in one or the other. And one, I would say that as Uganda, because I'm a Ugandan, to be honest, we pronounce ourselves as people who do not associate ourselves with LGBTQ. And speaking as a Christian, to me as a person, I already see life is already hectic and a lot is happening. And then adding on to that difficult life, another challenge, is really so hard. I don't know what they go through. I don't know what they choose to have it that way. But it really hurts my heart that the Lord made us perfect and fine, but only that we human beings make life very difficult. Yet it's very simple and plain. That He made a man and a woman, not a man and a man, not a woman and a woman. So it really disheartens me so much to see that we want to develop another life. And you see, this is how you see that the world is ending. You remember Sodom and Gomorrah? This is what used to happen. And in the end, it was demolished. History repeats itself every now and then. But what I would encourage our dear students in Uganda, please desist from copying the Westerners. And by Westerners, I mean the white people. Desist. Be yourself. Be realistic. Do not let the whims of other people, the influences from elsewhere, they're also suffering. They're not happy. Trust me, there is a lot that happens when you join such forces. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. And Elijah, please take up the podium. Elijah, 2005, Uganda adopted a multi-party dispensation, and we have ever seen grown in that particular aspect. The question is, so many of you here at your respective institutions were sponsored by political parties. You are perhaps flag bearers, all right? Then you come to UNSA and they say UNSA is non-partisan. Article 29 of our Constitution of the Republic of Uganda gives Ugandans a freedom of association. Do you think that UNSA, in denying partisanship politics, is depriving students of their freedom of association? But also, what's your general opinion about political parties in institutions of learning?
Thank you so much. To begin with, I come from Central University, which is an international university. So we don't have parties at our institution. However, I subscribe to the NRM personally. Getting back to your question. I don't think that UNSA denying political parties into this race can really affect me personally, because we have seen great people coming from UNSA getting into politics. One other thing I believe that when you go to the objectives, aims of UNSA, you will find that one of them is actually instilling that spirit of loving, getting into national issues. So I believe that this does not affect me in any way. If I'm not subscribing to the party here in UNSA, it does not mean that I'm off my party. I hope that you understand. So my point here is, UNSA rejecting political parties does not affect us, because we have seen great people from UNSA serving in big positions in the government, like Frank Tumwebaze, Honorable Minister Chris Bariomos. They are serving the country, yet they are from this side. So I really believe it does not really affect me.
One of your colleagues mentioned that the participation of political parties in university politics has laid a breeding ground for student violence and student unrest, because there's all this contestation, and at times political parties forget that this is a student process and end up deploying like they're deploying in maybe a Soroti East by-election, all right? So the question is that political parties and universities, should they continue being there, or as UNSA president you will advocate for their reparation?
No, I really believe that they can be part of the university politics. However,
how about at UNSA level? Can they also participate?
They can participate, as long as they can they know that these are students, they are not enemies, because they are treating them as enemies. Last time I saw, the people were fighting, and the students need to know that we are students. However much we have that spirit, but we must go under a series of learning. We learn these things time after time. I'm not against politics in universities. However, these students and also government should also be in position to know that these are students and we are nurturing them for the better future. The anthem for school says, "We the young men and women of Uganda marching along the path of education." When you go to the other part, it says that we instill this spirit, the peace, the unity, the love that we must see tomorrow. If we don't give them access, if we don't open up for these students, what platforms are we preparing tomorrow? Which kind of people are we preparing tomorrow? How will their tomorrow be? So I agree, let us give them platforms. They will serve the nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Elijah. Ms. Sharifa, please take the podium for the last round of these questions. Ms. Sharifa, we know that as a student leader, you are in a very transitional role. So that means that within 1 year, either you'll be graduating and going out into the general world, and you need to be prepared for the life ahead, right?
Yes.
So my question is, our country has been faced with a very, maybe the whole world over, but let's speak particularly to Uganda, a very high level of unemployment. And I know that as you transition from a student, you should prepare for that world. What is your say on the level of unemployment in this country, especially that it affects either fresh graduates or even working students?
Thank you very much for the question. When we're looking at employment opportunities, there are very few in the country, and the graduates are increasing day by day. We are not going to, the government or the other institutions are not going to extend the number of people they are supposed to employ because the number is increasing. What I advise the younger generation is to get involved in other ways of earning a living. I understand you're a graduate. I understand you have done software engineering or something. But if you got involved in bricklaying, if you got a shop downtown and you started selling and you went on social media, there is a girl that is a mentor to so many people. Her name is Macklin Asimwe. She's in NYC. Macklin Asimwe is a graduate of Makerere Business School. Macklin Asimwe, despite of her degree, She went on social media. She started small by selling earrings. She did not wait for someone to call her and say that this is a job for you. And just like the students responded positively because they were happy. Someone was coming out and someone they knew, a familiar face, was doing something to earn a living. Macklin did not go to the streets. Macklin did not become an escort to a rich man. Macklin did not wait for a job that she's home-seated. Macklin used her brains. I believe by creation, we all have a talent that is hidden. Personally, I have a talent for art. I can draw. So as I'm waiting for a job, if I decided to draw and went to different offices, I'm like, Madam Kamakune, this is a portrait of you at a TV show. She'll appreciate and she'll be like, I can get you this and this. And then another issue would be the people, the older people accepting. For example, in Ministry of, let me use Ministry of Education, there is an age limit where someone says you must hand over office at this time. You must be willing, you should work and make a name that when generations to come, they'll be proud to say, there was a certain gentleman or lady in this position. When the retirement age reached, they handed over, and then the new people came. New people come in with new ideas. This is another era, it's a .com era. Yeah, so you can always bring in a new idea. We can also use social media. People are dancing. This is no longer the generation where someone says you're a break dancer, you're a footballer, you do not matter. We have this child who's at Kampala parents. I'm forgetting Fresh Kid. This kid is singing, and this kid has a scholarship through singing. So he's earning as he's actually being educated. Let's not look down on jobs. Let's not call them old jobs. Let's not make fun of others to make them uncomfortable. Thank you very much.
And this brings us to a close of this.
Oh, yes. My last question goes to Mr. Bill Clinton. From your submissions, yes, you can. From your submissions, I see there is an emphasis on being a powerful student movement, if not a revolution. Given that you have a partisan political background from your university, don't you think that UNSA having you as its president risks a political catastrophe rather than a leadership triumph?
Thank you so much. When we talk about political revolutions or even student movements, we are actually looking at a group of young and organized people arguing about ideas of development, about ideas of national importance, looking at the legislations in parliament and different committee reports, and students are able to come and debate. For example, when we talk about political parties in UNSA politics and so on, political parties, you see, students have a right to civic rights, like somebody has a right to associate. Where we go wrong, and this is an indicator that we have degeneration in our country's politics, where we are now having new slangs like mafiaism, chemical, and so on. This shows how degenerative our politics are. And you see, if it starts from the parents or the outside members of parliament and so on, they are the people that give birth to students. Actually, today we would be proud. For example, I subscribe to the National Unity Platform. We are here to argue about ideas. It would be actually good to see different colors or different students subscribing to different political parties, but arguing about ideas, arguing about the development of the association, not specifically fighting and bringing hooliganism, or commercializing and monetizing politics of the students. And we should tap it right away from the grassroots, and that is universities, tertiary institution level, where we culminate actual leaders, because most of the leaders within this country have actually ever become UNSA leaders at any level. But it's a point. I'll give you an example. Let me also use Makere. You see, the time of Ruhakana Rugundas, the time of Mao, even this time during the times of the strong UID,
students were actually debating ideas. If you remember, Mukasambide won in Makerere just because of speaking a lot of English, and students were confused. You see, students were voting ideas. Students were voting the power of the brain. They were not voting money. They were not voting hooliganism. And this is an indicator of degeneration in our country's politics, not specifically political parties within universities. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Sharifa, kindly take up the podium. And my question to you is around the new curriculum. The Ministry of Education and Sports has adopted a new curriculum for the students, and perhaps some of the key elements therein is the aspect of embracing technology. But this comes at the wake of, obviously, the fourth industrial revolution that is really largely centered around technology and innovation and things like that. So what is your take on the current curriculum? Is it one that is progressive, or you think that as a country we are not ready in terms of infrastructure to support these very good ideas that every student can now come with maybe a tablet to school and things like that? So what is your take on the current curriculum as it stands?
Thank you very much for the question. Actually, I would love to thank the Uganda National Students Association together with Makere. There was a program where they were giving out laptops to students. There was the laptop scheme where they would give you a laptop and you would pay for this laptop in installments, because it's evident that this world has turned. It's a world of technology. It's an era where we have to move with technology. I'm going to give you an example. There was this young boy, the Kabaka Mwanga boy, that actually got a scholarship. TikTokers are taking over that day. Someone is going to go on TikTok, and then they are going to bring out an issue that is affecting the people from down, the students, etc. So I believe technology is good to go, to be embraced by each and everyone. So how are we going to be ready? Are we ready as a country? Yes, I believe we are ready. How are we going to be ready? Like the laptop scheme that took place in Makerere University. So if you push that across all universities in Uganda, and we told students, because yes, I understand that students don't have money, but if we were given an opportunity to pay in installments, access a phone, access this. Nowadays, you can access internet on a phone as cheap as 150,000 shillings. Nowadays, you can go to an internet cafe. The way you are using the internet is what matters, because we are being given an opportunity. We are ready as a country, but then we have people who are negative, that negative side, people who are always going to bring that negativity, someone going on air and saying something about a country, a lie, this and this and this is happening. So these issues are trying to bring us down, but if we use technology like social media in a way that is positive, and then we tried to get each and every person so that they can be able to access a smartphone, a laptop, etc. And that would be really better, would be taking our country at another level. So I believe we are very ready. We just have to use it in the right way.
Sharifa, Miss Barbara, please take the podium. Oh, okay. Still on the curriculum, Miss Barbara, we see kids as young as 6, 10 years old in other countries building robots, machines, and other things as their school projects. In Uganda, I am not certain that is a journey we have started taking. Do you think that in 10, 20 years, our young people will be able to compete globally?
Wow, thanks a lot for that question. First of all, I would like to say the whites, the world that we see have students or have children innovating, using technology, bringing up things that look very abstract, had a beginning. They also were back somewhere, some time back. So the stage we are in is actually a starting point. And I want to believe when used well, when policies are implemented well, when our children are guided well, yes, it is very possible. In 10, 20 years, we can have very productive citizens when it comes to technology.
A 50-year-old country or so is still at starting level in terms of education?
Okay, we are not at a starting point in terms of education, but we are at a starting point when it comes to innovation with the technology.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Now, our time is fast spent, so we shall give all of you just 90 seconds to give us your parting shots. And if there are any concerns that you'd love to address, that shall be the time. Clinton, I can see your hand is up already. Take up the podium.
I was trying to inquire if it is more interaction, if I can also rebuttal instead of certain question as my opponent.
You want to rebuttal a fellow candidate?
No.
No, perhaps maybe not today. But yes, I now invite you, 90 seconds that you have to give us your parting shots and last words on this debate. Then after, we shall have the candidates for the speakership just say a word to us. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you so much. Concluding this, I want to give a little brief to all of us. Back in '86, when this government took power, the population was about 15.7 million. And by then, our GDP was about $3.92 billion. But now we are looking at a population of 48 million people. And we are looking at a GDP, by 2021, we had $40.43 billion. And this is a transition, and this is the point of time. If we had students that advocated for loan scheme, if we had students that advocated for government scholarships, if we had a true, vibrant UNSA by then, what of now when we are actually rich, when the economy has grown? We are actually facing many injustices in the student community. It is a point when post-COVID, when institutions are facing surcharges and a lot of tuition. And this is the period of time when UNSA needs vibrant leadership, needs people who can bring on board associations. This is the period of time when we need to now look at the power of UNSA. From the time it started, when the members, by then, you see, our population, the student population, is always 15% of the actual population. So if we are now around 48 million, so what means the student population is actually not around 15, it's beyond more. But how can we now utilize that power of the student population to, one, debate on matters of national importance? Because at the end, it is us. How do we get into partnerships with UNRWA and so on to advocate for road traffic accidents? How do we tackle the climate change problem? And as students, at the end, it is us that suffer. Thank you so much. I continue to bless all the viewers. Thank you so much for taking time and giving it in for the students of the country. Thank you so much, the moderators and UNSA at large. I remain Bill Clinton Nasasira, aspiring UNSA president. Thank you so much.
Please use only 90 seconds. Our time, please, 90 seconds.
Thank you very much. The UNSA we want is one where we are very developmental, where we are not called beggars, where we do not go to various offices seeking for financial support without a project embedded behind it, where we use our own brains because we are resourceful, where we as students refuse to be taken up by the standards of very many things in this world, by the influence of those who think they know much that is best for us, yet we have an association. The influence of so many people who think that we cannot hold peaceful elections, or we cannot have something organized in UNSA as students, who are better still leaders. We can have an UNSA that is very organized. We can have an UNSA that has students with brilliant minds that can table things on every ground, and they're actually administered, they're established, not only in one region, not only in one district, not only in one area, but in all regions. I remain Mirembereto Serada, aspiring President UNSA. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. UNSA for all. UNSA for all requires a voice that can bring together all members of this community. I strongly believe if we can amplify this voice, because I believe no one is voiceless, but if we can amplify this voice, we can make a change. We can make UNSA great. We can make it impactful to that young child who is down there in the village. We can make it impactful. I believe things change when you speak about them. Whenever we come out and speak, things will change. Ladies and gentlemen, Mutabazeleji is my name. I present myself before you as the voice amplifier. I am ready to amplify the students, the voices of the students of Uganda to a better place. I also call upon the government to put up agriculture and cooperative bank so that we can support our parents. Mutabazeleji is my name. I thank you all for God and my country.
I'm very excited that the speaker before me had to mention that UNSA has to be for all. You see, the slogan is everyone is someone, and therefore UNSA must be for all. Thank you so much, my brother. I see him slowly coming back on board. I welcome you to the ABC team. I know eventually we'll be able to work together to see UNSA to another level. To my brothers and sisters, my colleague students outside there, I would like to appreciate you for taking your time to listen to us. I would like to say there is a chance to make a change, the change that will create an impact in the lives of all the students in the country. There is a chance for that poor girl, for that poor boy to go to class, to go to school. There is a chance for this student leader to be advocated for. There is a chance to see UNSA move to greater heights. The chance is here, and the chance is ABC. I thank you all. I wish you a very great deliberation as we go out, speak the same language. ABC is our brand. UNSA for all, because everyone is someone. Achuga Barbara Caroline for Presidency UNSA 2023. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are the champions of our time. This is our generation. We have to prove that we are ready. Every time we prove that we are not ready, we are going to have the guidance of the people who have been there before us to hold our hands, not in a negative way, because why would you perceive something negatively if you're trying to do the right thing? Let us accept to be guided. Let us accept to be led, so that, you know, a good leader is that one who is led. My slogan, let's build bridges, not walls. When I was thinking of my slogan, I thought of two things. In an election, there is winning and losing, and that is a fact of life. So I put myself in a position, if I win tomorrow, what am I going to do? I looked at my colleagues in the struggle, my comrades. I looked at their idea. For someone to come for UNSA president, they have a smart mind. I was like, I will not exclude them. I will approach them and I'll say, this is our project. Position does not matter. The position I hold, we are students. If you want to take UNSA to the next level and you really have a plan for UNSA, let's work together. And if I lose, I'll still go up to my friends. I'll tell them, why don't we work with a colleague that has won? So in the end, if we are building the bridges and we are not putting walls, we can have a better UNSA, better ideas. Let's not fight. This person has won. Yes, I subscribe to NRM. But for the fact that we are all students, give me an idea that is leading our generation that to the next level. This is a generational cause where we have to listen to each other. I will listen. I'll implement. You understand? Like I said, we are the champions of our time, and the time is now. My name is Birungi Sharifa, a student of IUIU. I'm a believer in Allah, And I pray that God, who has enabled us to come here today, keeps guiding us until the last day we make a decision. And I urge you not to be on pressure. Make the right decision. And if we are the leaders that come before you today, we shall accept your decision and we shall be able to work with you regardless. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Sharifa. Thank you, candidates, for the office of the President, Uganda National Students Association. This brings us to the close of this debate. But however, before we close, we'd like to give an opportunity to the candidates who are vying for the position of Speaker to come say hello to the students of Uganda and introduce themselves in 30 seconds. They're welcome.
30 seconds, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I do observe protocol. I'm Kanyas J. Peterson, a Guild Speaker, Chambogo University. One, I am here to inform you that as a speaker, you have to be the custodian of the Constitution. And colleagues, president, aspirants, whoever wins, I'd like to bring this to your attention that as a speaker, I shall not tolerate any breach of the Constitution. And I expect us as leaders that we should make sure that the rights, the constitutional rights of each member of UNSA are fulfilled. And yeah, I still remain Kanyas J. Peterson, and I want to thank you all members who have turned up, and thank you for the deliberation. Thank you so much.
Praise God and good morning, friends. Praise God and good morning, friends. My name is Ojok Nelson Oyet, aspirant for UNSA speakership. I'm a student of law at Uganda Christian University. I come because I'm a man on a mission. I don't have the privilege to surrender, and I don't have the luxury to retreat. I am going to compose UNSA as a speaker who wants the best in the constitutionalism of this noble cause for the greatness of Ugandan students. Dear friends, colleagues, welcome to the noble cause, because this is a candidate who will recognize the struggle of every mother, every father, every colleague in this country. Thank you. God bless you.
A very good morning to you all. My name is Rachel Maria Nakanjako. I am the Guild President, Kampala University, the second female Guild President. I'm a patriot, a Pan-Africanist, and a lady, a lioness. I am in year 2, semester 2, pursuing a Bachelor's of Tourism and Hotel Management. To my dear colleagues that are running for the position of presidency today, a lot has been said, and a lot is going to be said. But all I can say today, I am so ready to work with anyone who is going to come out as the president. I just wish you the best. Secondly, I am ready to work with you people, because it is only and only through unity and togetherness that UNSA can be vibrant. Thank you so much. I love you all.
Finally, is that we know that this event was powered by Office of the Speaker of the UNSA Secretariat, and of course closing remarks shall come from the Deputy Speaker, who I now invite to use 2 minutes to give us closing remarks from the Speaker's office.
Good morning, everyone. As the Speaker's office, we are privileged to have you. We have people we have physically, we have people we have virtually. This is surely the intended purpose of technology. Someone has just texted me from Kanyabuganga, Mitoma district. That is surely something important. November last year, we made promises that we shall engage, and I think we've already engaged. To the presidents, we wish you the best, and to other candidates, you're going to make it. Moderators, surely, thanks for taking us through. I can see my brother seated right there. Thanks for being smart. To the students, parents, and any stakeholder of UNSA that has been with us from wherever they are, we appreciate. We continue to call you for council on the 27th. That is going to end on 29th at Seta High School, Mukono, Green Campus. Please come and be with us. They have dished out their manifestos directly or indirectly, but it's about students to either judge, improve, criticize, or take them on. Please, students, you have it all. The UNSA we want, the UNSA for the students of the Republic of Uganda. You're welcome to the 33rd Students' Council at Mukono. Charita Gava is my name. Currently, I am the chairperson of the Youth Committee, UNESCO. Thanks.
Thank you very much, candidates, for your spared time. Candidate Bill Clinton, candidate Rachel Serwada, candidate Elijah Mutabazi, candidate Achuga Babra, and candidate Sharifa Birungi. Thank you for making the time to be on this maiden presidential debate. And of course, my co-moderators, thank you for sparing the time to make this a marvelous event. Well, the students, the baton is now in your hands, and really, when the time comes, go out and cast your vote. Above all, have a lovely afternoon. Thank you. Bye-bye.